Hey everybody, it's Amanda. I made my how to make an altered book journal tutorial back, in December. And I have been doing some stuff in here. Some of it's just been adding color and just getting some pages to not be blank. Because even though they're just, oh my gosh, let's find one. Even though they just have writing on them, and they're not a true blank page, to me this is blank, and it makes my brain freeze when I look at it. So I haven't done much. I've got a little bit of stuff going and things started, but that's like it. That's all I've got going on in here so far. But I had promised people that I would show some of my old altered books, but that one started sticking to the page behind it. And so that's what I'm gonna do today, is show you guys some of my older ones. And just so you can see how I use them, these are not exactly the most exciting. On some of the spreads that I did are not as, I don't know, I didn't fill it in a whole lot because I was just doodling and sticking things in. And that's a napkin and paint and magazines, and my original intention was to journal, but this is the very first one I ever did. And I really liked the paper in this one. It was super thick paper that held up really good to paint and everything. And most of the time what you see now when I do stuff is you see that I use a lot of watercolor as my background. And one, I just like the way, or spray inks. One, I like the way that the watercolor and the spray inks are kind of transparent and I could see, but like this is acrylic. And it's a different texture to the page, I guess. And I have an easier time writing and doing stuff over this than I sometimes do with this. But then, your creativity leads you in different directions depending on what's going on. With acrylic painted backgrounds, you can't really use Sharpies or anything on them. You got to use ballpoint pens. And I really like the Bic Crystal. These are upside down. The Bic Crystal, I don't know if you can see, pens, because they do really good on acrylic. I tend to journal when we have hurricanes because I live here in South Carolina, so we had a hurricane here. I was at work during that hurricane and actually was driving home, and there was a tornado warning, and they were like, rotation seen at, such and such intersection. And I realized as I was driving home from the hospital that I was at that intersection, and I'm like looking out my windows for this tornado and couldn't see it. So I was at a red light, right? Like there's another hurricane. And I was at a red light, and so I just literally looked around. Nobody was around, because who's out driving in a hurricane other than people who work in first responder type jobs or healthcare jobs. And I just blew through every light on my way home after that. Once again, this is probably, I think, a combo of acrylic and watercolor. And these are little things I cut out of a piece of scrapbook paper, because they reminded me of like the way that people draw atoms with the nucleus and the electrons. All my nerds out there. That's our December that year. January, made some raindrops because it rained a lot during this time. And some pages like this aren't done at all, and that's okay, because I did put something in here. I said some days I feel like the hawk, other days I feel like the mouse. Clearly I was feeling very small that month and mouse-like, because apparently I had no time to do anything, and all I managed to do was to write in the month, not even color it in, write down one thing we did, and that was it. But that's okay, because I can look back at that and I remember, kind of, it lets me know. This was March. My mom sold the house that we grew up in, and I had found this in a children's book. And it said, if you live in a land with lots of trees, you may build your house of wood. It may be a cabin of round brown logs. I grew up in a log cabin. So, fun fact about me, I lived in a wooded area with lots of trees and grew up in a log cabin. Not many people do that. This was the woods actually at my parents' property, and these were my kids when they were very small. My son's face is so dirty because he used to dig and he would play with, like, you know, all kinds of stuff and just get it all over his face. And this was my daughter when she was small, and they would make signs to put on the trees so you knew where you were on the trails that we had gone through there. April, that's a month of birthdays in my family. Like, everybody has birthdays. First couple weeks. Oh, hot mess. Hot mess. This was my birthday month. This is a napkin. They threw me a party at work, and I stuck the napkin in. That was when I started the Soda City paper project back in 2019. I named it then, and I kind of had thought, oh, I'll start sticking things on Instagram and Etsy, and I really didn't do too much of it. If y'all go to my Instagram, which is Soda City Paper Project, it's real sporadic. My goal this year is to post a little more on that. I'm gonna try to adjust this. The blinds and the sunshine coming in are making like these dappled sunlight sunlight splotches on things. And while I like that when I'm working, it's kind of weird when you're looking at it on a video. Let's see. Ooh, that is worse. No. And, oh, it's gonna get bright, y'all. Gonna get bright. I don't know. I don't know if it's about the same. Holy cow, the sunshine's crazy right now. All right, I give up. You guys are just gonna enjoy my sun with me. Journaling about rainbows. These stickers keep coming up, and I have used glue over the years on these things, and they still peel. But you know, we love rainbows here. This is okay that this address is in here because this is not a place that we live. That was actually a place that we verboed and went summer vacay that year. Hack the Planet, if you've ever watched the movies Hackers. It's so bad, but I love it. That was something my son painted when he was like 3. Oh, just all kinds of stuff going on. And a wedding invitation that I had to cover up information on. Let's see, what else do I have? Holy moly, the sunshine. I don't know if that's any better with the sun. All right, let's see. This was the second altered book I made. Rainbow Bright, rainbow colors. Yeah, okay, I'm in here. I did not do anything, and you could see that this page was glued to the page behind it. I need to do a little repair work. And every now and then, when you are using an altered book, you will have this sort of thing happen in the gutter of the book. All you have to do, this is probably too thick for this, but you will take, like, if you have scrap paper or anything, you can just glue it. Masking tape will work. If you have any of those FedEx like bags that come that are the Tyvek kind of bag, I love to put those down the center. I'll put scrapbook paper, I've put wrapping paper, wallpaper, you could put whatever to kind of fix any splitting that happens. If the book originally belonged to someone, I like to keep the original book plate in, because this belonged to Mrs. Edith, I can't read her last name, in May of 1959. This book that I'm working in now had been donated to a library in honor of someone. So I leave that in there because I like that. I like seeing who owned my book ahead of me. Oh my gosh. That was our May. They did a SpaceX launch. We watched the rocket launch, and I actually had a stamp of the astronaut Sally Ride, so I put that in there. I thought that worked good. That was June. It was, we actually had really cool summer weather that year for us, which probably meant that it was like 90 3 degrees Fahrenheit. This was during COVID, and I had said I found the last lip and slide in the country. At least it feels like it. That was just doodling. It was just work and school, and study. Because I was back in school. Oh, right here, you could see there's this weird thing, and it looks like a total. I think this was like, I don't even know what this was for, but it was like a receipt. Oh, it was something that came and was delivered. You know, they send those packing slips that have like the stickers. I saved and I put it down and I stuck it down the center to correct the gutter splitting. That was, our neighborhood was getting huge at that time. Election stuff. This was my favorite wrapping paper. I think I have something on Instagram with this, from like pictures of start to finish and me messing with this. Me driving to work like, I hope I'm nice today. That came from my friend Melissa. She cracks me up. Yeah, you gotta love a work friend who understands just how hard it can be to remain nice when everything is chaos. That is my favorite kombucha. It is a pineapple peach. I love it. I know a lot of people don't get into kombucha, and there are some that are just so gross, but that one's really good. That was my rage journaling. I usually don't do like scrapbooky spreads, but my husband had this insanely ugly shirt that you guys can see right here, and it looks like it has beer labels. I would not let him get this shirt when we went to Walmart one time, and it was on a clearance rack for $2, but I was like, this is the ugliest shirt ever. No. And he goes, oh, I'm gonna use it as my grilling shirt. And so he went back and he bought it. And he wore it for years when he would cook out. And I thought, okay, it's gonna get messed up. It's gonna get super gross because he will get, you know, grease on it and charcoal and just whatever you get. And I thought he was gonna mess the shirt. This shirt was made out of titanium. It lasted 955 years. And it finally got like a texture after being washed so much, because it was this cheap whatever fabric this was, and it felt gross. And so it smelled constantly like sunscreen. Okay, not me smelling this, because when I made this journal entry, for a while this page smelled like sunscreen. From him being outside and cooking out and wearing this, and then like going to, oh, he would wear this shirt everywhere. It was so ugly. So when the shirt finally died, we memorialized it in the journal here. Soda City Paper Project. Oop, my little T didn't fit on that page, so he had to come over here. And I was saying it's about journals and old books and creativity and thrifting, because that's what I like to use. I really liked this one. I feel like it's missing stuff, but this was just like when you're overwhelmed, and I wrote, you know, stuff in. This is all about, that is me. I was diagnosed with MS a few years ago, and that's what this was all about. And then I didn't really finish. You can see right here, that was me writing down what we wanted from Jersey Mike's. But sometimes it's just paint and stuff stuck in, and I never went back. This was things that were all blue, and also things that were kind of laying around or stuck on my desk or in the kitchen. Like these were cheeses that we got for my daughter to try because she had a cheese dream. I don't know. Y'all have had one of these stickers in another journal I think I flipped through. This was about my kids and just rando things, because I said the loudest animals in the world here are, and it used to say these types of monkeys, and I changed it to my kids. Their piercing, blood-chilling cries can be heard for miles. I think it was about like howler monkeys. I was gonna journal about the sunshine, because you guys know I like the sun. That was me trying to get myself together to maybe do a YouTube channel, and I never did at that point. And that was pretty much it for that. So, like I said, I'm working in this one, and I'm going to, you know, maybe film some videos of me doing some things in here, because I don't know, I think that a lot of people see a finished product and they're like, oh, I could never do that. And I would look at something like this when I first started and be like, oh my God, look at her, the way the watercolor looks, or look at the way her, do I have any more in here? Look at the way, you know, you could see the paints are blending together. If you guys saw what a hot mess this was when I put it together, you would just be like, oh, that's it. That's all she did. Like, that was a paintbrush clean off page. And so I think that I'm gonna start just, you know, this is, you know, start maybe blank page, then next step, then, you know, next step is sticking something down, next step is adding stuff to, and that way people who aren't as enthusiastic about making messes like I am will see that it's perfectly all right. Everything starts with just smearing some things and making marks and all that sort of thing. And that is it for today, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.